Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Warmington under fire after racial comment regarding PNP President Mark Golding. 8 arrested in St. Andrew bust, and later in sports, Reggae girls take on Paraguay in international friendly. Thank you for joining us. I'm Shamela Pullen. Here are the details. The National Integrity Action NIA is calling for Prime Minister Andrew Holness to intervene in the controversy involving Government Minister Everard Warmington. As Sandy Williams reports, Principal Director of the NIA believes Mr. Warmington should be demoted or asked to resign for his racial comment about the opposition leader on Sunday. In some developed nation, a parliamentarian may be sanctioned for uttering racial comments on a political platform. Recently, a far-right member of the French parliament was sanctioned by a disciplinary panel for shouting "Go back to Africa" when a black MP was speaking in the National Assembly. A maximum penalty of 15 days suspension and a temporary pay cut was imposed on the member. However, in Jamaica, it is yet to be seen if Member of Parliament for St. Catharines Southwest, Everard Warmington, will be sanctioned for his controversial racial comment about opposition leader Mark Golding. On Sunday, Mr. Warmington suggested that Mr. Golding's racial background and his ancestral links to British slave masters made him unfit to become Prime Minister of Jamaica.
Where Mark Golding, Madam Foy, come from? A white man, white one from England. Prime Minister where? Jamaica? If he wants to be Prime Minister, go back to England, Ireland, Wales, or Scotland.
Professor Trevor Monroe is Principal Director of the National Integrity Action NIA.
There is no code of conduct on the basis of which any behavior inside or outside of our parliament by a member of parliament can be sanctioned.
Professor Monroe explains that the government had started consultation 13 years ago as part of efforts to implement a national code of conduct. There was also a commitment to include a national code of conduct in Jamaica's National Development Plan, Vision 2030. But to date,
that commitment in our National Development Plan has not been fulfilled despite a number of administrations, the Simpson-Miller administration 2012, 2016 following Golding, then the second Andrew Holness administration.
He says the time has come for the government to fulfill that commitment. The Office of the Political Ombudsman has since sent a letter informing Mr. Warmington that it will be conducting a probe into the matter. However, in a Gleaner article, Mr. Warmington dismissed both the PSOJ and the Office of the Political Ombudsman as sanctimonious non-entities. Professor Monroe believes it's time for Prime Minister Andrew Holness to intervene.
On his inauguration in 2020, on September the 7th, Prime Minister again said, "We must seek to prevent the occurrence of actions which weaken public trust and damage the integrity of the government." Mr. Warmington is a part of the government, and therefore I would urge that the Prime Minister call him in, have a discussion, and say that your remarks, whoever has behaved that way in the past, two wrongs don't make a right, your remarks are out of order, and I'm requesting your resignation. Or alternatively, I am demoting you from the position you hold.
Sandy Williams, TVJ News. The opposition People's National Party has blasted comments from the JLP's Everard Warmington about PNP President Mark Golding. The PNP has described the statements as despicable and in poor taste and has called on the JLP hierarchy to do the same. Herman Green reports.
The controversial comment from JLP MP Everard Warmington has upset several groups in Jamaica. The opposition PNP has fired back, not only pointing out how inappropriate they believe it is, but also defending the PNP president, Mark Golding. The PNP says Mr. Golding was born in Jamaica at the University Hospital of the West Indies and that his nationality and heritage are of unquestionable authenticity. The PNP says to use Mr. Golding's skin color to incite hate against him is a repulsive political stunt which must be rebuffed by society at large. PNP chairperson Dr. Angela Brown-Burke has also called on Prime Minister Andrew Holness and the JLP General Secretary Dr. Horace Strang to speak up on the matter by distancing the JLP from the offensive statements of Mr. Warmington.
It was said on a JLP platform, and my understanding that senior members of the leadership of the JLP were actually in attendance. And I believe where we are in our development as a country and what we expect of our leaders, that statement is an abomination and should be rejected by the leadership of the Jamaica Labour Party.
On Wednesday, the private sector organization of Jamaica also expressed disappointment with Mr. Warmington's comments, describing them as racially divisive and having no place in the Jamaican context, as they are inconsistent with the motto, out of many, one people. The body has called for the leaders of the two main political parties to manage the tone of the communication of their political operatives. The PNP says it has also referred the matter to the political ombudsman. Herman Green, TVJ News.
General Secretary of the Jamaica Labour Party, Dr. Horace Strang, has described party member Everett Warmington's comments as rather unfortunate. Dr. Strang, while speaking with the media this morning, said the JLP has a history of inclusiveness that does not support this statement.
The comment is a political comment because I think Mr. Warmington was responding to what some comments have been made before. It's an unfortunate comment, but there is no way any ethnic divisions in Jamaica in the political arena. Right? In fact, at one point he was able to make the comment those things as too contentious, but certainly it didn't come across very well, and we have noted all the comments by the private sector and the other business community leaders.
Dr. Strang was speaking at a JLP press conference about the party's 79th annual general conference slated for later this month. 8 persons have been arrested in a major drug bust in St. Anne on Wednesday. The cocaine seized is valued at 130 million Jamaican dollars. More in this report from Prince Moore.
Among the 8 passengers arrested are 7 U.S. nationals and 1 Jamaican, who were all found attempting to smuggle a large quantity of cocaine out of the island. The police reported that all 8 persons were passengers who earlier disembarked the vessel, which arrived in Ocheria, St. Anne from Miami, Florida. About 1:30 p.m., as the 8 members of the syndicate were attempting to reboard the vessel for departure, anomalies were detected in their luggage. During a search by members of the Narcotics Division, a total of 24 packages containing cocaine weighing just over 17 kilograms or 38 pounds were found concealed in their bags. The drug was seized and all 8 passengers were arrested. Their identities have been withheld pending further investigations, which will include the suspects being interviewed in the presence of their attorneys. The cocaine has a street value of approximately $850,000 US dollars or 130 million Jamaican dollars. Prince Moore, TVJ News.
Residents who live in and around Howard Avenue of Waltham Park Road in St. Andrew will be considered for the 155 studio apartments to be constructed in the community. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the announcement during a groundbreaking on Wednesday.
If their preference is for a studio type, apartment type housing solution, and they are earning minimum wage or just above minimum wage, they should be able to access financing through the NHG or through the private banking system or from their own resources to afford one of these 248 units that will be built here. Though we cannot give preference because the point system is open and transparent, but I'm expecting that members of the community here would be able to acquire one of the units being constructed here.
The apartments are expected to be completed by October 2024. Over 100 health centers across the island will soon be able to test for diabetes. The health minister made the announcement recently as November is being recognized as Diabetes Month. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Dunstan Bryan, disclosed that he was diagnosed with diabetes earlier this year. Mr. Bryan says among the symptoms he had was weight gain and frequent trips to the bathroom. That's when he decided to visit his medical doctor.
And I told her, and she said, "What's happening?" And she go through her regular thing. And she said, "Let me just do a little prick here." And my number came back. It was 26. My glucose level, 26. She immediately put me on a regimen. And she immediately tried to move me through it.
Since then, he has made significant changes to his lifestyle.
Today is the best you see of me. Not true. Talk the truth. I look a little better today. I had to lose at least 25 pounds, 30 pounds, I think I lost. And I have to go to the gym on a regular basis. Now, I started on a very heavy regimen. And right now, I'm on low dose, what do you call the drug? Metformin. My objective is to come off drugs altogether. So I'm pressing along.
But Mr. Bryan says while he was attentive to the signs and symptoms, there are some Jamaicans who are not, which is of concern. He reiterated that the impact the condition can have on families can be quite costly.
How many of us would have known someone in a household that has been impacted by diabetes and other non-communicable diseases, that the household income reduces by at least 75%? Because that one individual is lost. 75%. Just think about it. Just think about the fact that you have your mortgage to pay, the light bill to pay, the water, the internet, very important.
Mr. Bryan says it's one of the reasons the Ministry of Health will now make testing available in 128 health centers across the island starting this month to tackle the disease early.
We are providing the testing devices and the kits, the ICT equipment and software, and we are also providing over $30 million for the procurement of these pieces of equipment. We have in place a contract for the purchase of 50,000 HbA1c tests that are to be provided to the regional health authorities for the administration of testing.
And for a peek in the financial world, here's Cody and Barrett with a Business Minute.
The price of Starlink's service in Jamaica, the latest satellite internet provider approved by regulators, will cost customers nearly $70,000 for installation. This is mainly due to the one-off cost of acquiring the dish hardware. The monthly fees are also higher than rivals, although the stated data speeds from Starlink are faster. According to information generated by Starlink's website using a Jamaican address, Starlink's monthly fees is $8,450, while the price to purchase the dish is $60,000. Despite the figures, President Natalie Rose insists the price is not out of reach for a typical Jamaican. In business internationally, the same day Twitter began adding grey official labels to some high-profile accounts to indicate that they are authentic, Twitter boss Elon Musk said in a tweet on Wednesday that he killed it. He tweeted, "Please note that Twitter will do lots of dumb things in coming months. We will keep what works and change what doesn't." Musk backtracked on the official label just a day after a product executive at the social media company announced it, leading to confusion about the difference between the label and Twitter's current blue checkmark that signifies verified accounts. That's it for the Business Minute. I'm Cody Ann Barrett.
It's now time for the top regional and international stories. Here's Sandy Williams.
In the region, the Inter-American Press Association has reported that an 8th journalist was killed in Haiti on Thursday. This comes as the Caribbean nation grapples with surging gang violence and instability. The Haitian government and the United Nations have since called for international security assistance to help deal with the continuing escalation of violence in the country. On the international scene, Tropical Storm Nicole is causing havoc on travel plans in the United States. The FlightAware tracking site indicates that more than 1,200 flights were cancelled on Thursday. This after more than 900 flights were cancelled Wednesday, with most planes being grounded at the Orlando International Airport. People heading to the airport over the next few days are being advised to keep in contact with their airlines to see if they will need to adjust their plans. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Sandy Williams.
We take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have your midday sports report with Renardo Brown.